By the way, sorry about that. We hit over an hour, and video recordings like, hey, you can only do an hour max per thing. So
apparently we talk too much.
Who knew? And
Not me.
my loving sister will be back. She had to go potty. So, anyways, Steppenwolf's Norman Bates. Or is that really your biggest...
Steppenwolf, I as the catalyst to bring the Justice League together, he did not do the role justice. Steppenwolf was a two-dimensional character in 4 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And he was bland, he was boring. And every time he started talking about Mother, I was looking for a rocking chair and
and a dead body?
And a dead body. I really was. It was Janet Leigh, that was what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
It was bad. It was, and I'm used to comic book movies being not Shakespearean drama. But he was a new level of bad.
And it's a fair critique. What about you, Court?
Agree. But my favorite part, I would have to be, scene is when, not Batman, sorry, Superman blows his cold freezy on...
It's cold freezy?
I don't know what it's
His
called.
ice breath.
Ice breath. On
Steppenwolf.
On Steppenwolf's
axe,
and then Wonder Woman comes in and slices it.
And then
the way it falls apart. That's
even that had a feeling of been there, done that.
It does, but it...
Like I brought up
maybe because when I'm watching Your Son on Fridays, I get to see the hook get broken a lot.
Yeah, from Maui.
From Maui's hook. And I'm like, hey, look, we broke Maui's hook. You're welcome.
But Maui's hook doesn't shatter, it just cracks. This one completely shatters.
I love Mom.
No, he breaks his hook.
Yeah, he breaks it. That's the big crucial crux at the very end of the film. Because he doesn't have it because he sacrifices his hook because Disney film and,
you gotta have
character growth.
Character growth and all that, so... But yeah, it was like Maui's hook shattering. I was like, are we really doing this?
But also, I kind of liked how it had the,
you're
goldish, orange,
so you're saying
on
an
through
effects
it
level.
As it fell apart. Yeah. I like the effects of it.
Okay. Least favorite scene?
Favorite scene?
Something, or even just a gripe.
Honestly, just the overall, when they were panning up the rocks during some of the fight scenes when it was exploding, it just kind of, blurred and, literally made me dizzy.
Okay, that's a fair criticism, because, the CG really isn't spectacular. Because I think they're trying to go for the... Well, I think they were trying to go for the Marvel cheap look. Because Marvel's always had cheap-looking CG. Outside of, I think, Guardians of the Galaxy is the only one that's, tried pushing, hey, we can look cheesy, but still have really good effects.
Mm-hmm.
But another YouTuber has this great video on why the Marvel films look bad. Like they're meant to look. Because if you have a baseline of bad, pretty much, if your baseline is it's okay, then anything you build off of that will look all the better. And there's a cohesive flow, so you don't get the same CG effects like you have in Justice League, where, it's really jarring going from Henry Cavill's actual face to now he has kind of this digital hair lip.
That's a good phrasing for it. Question.
Yes?
Who did Watchmen? What universe is that?
Watchmen was a standalone graphic novel, but Zack Snyder did it, and now it is in the DC universe because there's this really cool storyline happening in the comics.
Okay. Zack Snyder, though, is the same writer from...
Or the same director from the film,
whatever.
yeah.
Alright, so that's why there was some crossover in my head.
Yeah, definitely.
As opposed to the 2 characters from Terminator dropped in the DC universe.
Yeah, basically.
I know these guys.
Zack Snyder definitely does have his own film style, which is why I think you can definitely see, a lot of the character stuff was Zack Snyder, but a lot of the humor was when Joss Whedon was brought in to basically, I don't want to say punch up the script, but Zack Snyder had a shit year. Like I think it was his daughter committed suicide,
That is a shame.
or he lost, and then you also have the entire internet bitching about the fact that Zack Snyder is the worst director ever. Oh my god. So, you know what I mean?
I didn't think it was the worst director ever, but I just thought that there was
that
there was
Zack
more
Snyder,
misses than hits.
The thing is Zack Snyder is a fantastic cinematographer. Like Watchmen, even his bad films like Sucker Punch, looks visually good. You know what I mean? But on a creator level, like the reason that Watchmen actually did get praise, from a lot of comic fans until, the internet took over, where it's like, okay, now we can't actually say we like Watchmen now because it doesn't have a giant squid at the end. The comic is weird.
Okay, but Steppenwolf was the Justice League version of the 3-foot blue schlong. It was a part of the storyline that we probably could have lived without.
Well, that's also a problem, is that Zack Snyder is fantastic at adapting comics because
and poor Courtney's blinking at me. Let's backtrack and explain.
I just don't know
Watchmen.
who that is.
Okay.
I've never seen
No,
Watchmen.
in Watchmen, there is a character whose name escapes me, probably because...
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, thank you. And he's not really a shapeshifter per se, but he's
omnipotent.
He's omnipotent. He can make himself bigger. He can make himself multiple people. He can do whatever he needs to do. But when he
win the Vietnam War
to fight, apparently he hasn't figured out how to make clothing grow too. So I go to the movies with Sam and Ryan. Or, I'm sorry, no, it wasn't even Sam and Ryan. It was TJ and Ryan. And I was visually assaulted by a 3-foot blue schlong running around the Vietnam War.
And that's the moment she decided to become a lesbian.
I think it was a deciding factor. I think that was just that was one big swinging dick too many in my world.
Oh my god.
But,
I'm sorry. Edit that out if you need to.
No, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Although now I do have to do this in 2-hour-long fucking videos. Holy crap. So,
favorite part for you?
So, favorite part for me. On an action level, like, my favorite scene, not the best scene I think. My favorite scene is literally this great character moment with Aquaman while everyone's flying off to Russia. Because, of course, they have to fight in, Russia, which, of course, is totally nothing but rundown, shanties and all that.
Okay, but the little Russian girl was cute.
The little Russian girl was cute. I kind of wish they didn't reveal, like, if they didn't reveal any of that and just had it be, kind of like, then you see this small little story with this family while they're fleeing and everything like that. I think that would have been really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would have reminded me of, like, because in certain storylines there is the meanwhile issue, where it's like, here's 3 issues of, okay, now they're dealing with this invasion, and then there's one issue that could veer off into, well, they're dealing with that. Aquaman is off, saving his son from being eaten alive by sharks.
But seriously, how long were they going to sit in that little room and just hope?
Like,
that purple shit wasn't going to come through a window.
Like, that's what annoyed me, is that,
Well, no, as soon as the purple shit showed up, they fled.
Well,
fled.
but, like, I understood, okay, let's barricade because, the parademons are all around, and it was kind of adorable when she pulled out the insecticide.
Yeah, the bug spray was cute.
And but it felt like it had no point other than to kind of pad out the movie.
Yeah, but it gave the Flash his aha moment.
And that weird Dostoevsky.
What the fuck?
Isn't Dostoevsky the author?
Yeah, I do believe.
Did he mean Dostavanya? Das
Vidanya.
Das Vidanya.
Danke, schnell. But yes.
I was like, Dostoevsky, what?
That's
War
actually,
and Peace?
I laughed and she goes, what is it saying? I'm like, hold on, I'll tell you after. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
No,
Go,
I still
Joe!
don't know or understand.
Dostoevsky. Anyways.
What does it mean?
Dostoevsky is an author. He wrote War and Peace.
It'd be like going, Jesus was born to the Virgin Mary, J. Blige.
But like instead of see ya, Stephen King ya. It's
I don't want to be Stephen King. But so on a character level, Aquaman is, they're on their way to Russia because Russia, and suddenly he turns around and he starts spitting hard truth, like Batman, you're just a fucking rich guy.
We're all gonna die.
Oh my god, yeah.
We're all gonna die.
Great.
You could be working for the enemy. You're a robot made from the enemy. You're the clumsiest son of a bitch around. God, you're gorgeous. But I don't want to die. I've done a lot, I haven't done a lot. And then we find out he's actually sitting on the lasso of truth.
Which was great because
Batman's kind of entertaining.
It was a really entertaining, and it's one of my favorite scenes. I wouldn't say it's the best scene of the film, but it is one of my favorites.
Definitely agree.
Because, it really does this great character building with Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, you've got Jackass. You have him being a jackass, to everyone. But then you get this, like, he's still a jackass, but it's in his character to be one. But he's still kind of that, I don't want to die, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it because it's what I do. Because I'm a warrior. This is what I do. And it's this great, he's speaking truth, but it's still a funny scene, but it's still a emotional scene.
Right.
Without being,
over the top.
Yeah. But my second favorite scene has to be Superman finally turning around to go, do you bleed? To Batman after pimp smacking him into a cop car, like full force. Well, not full force. He still lived, but it's not a light smack. This is a wham whoosh. Or the laugh that I had because all I was going through my head was because he then picks Superman up, or he then picks Batman up. Starts choking him just like you shouldn't be alive. Do you bleed? And then Batman's like, send in the big gun, Alfred. And it's Lois Lane to, reconnect Clark to his human side and everything like that. But as soon as Clark sees Lois, he literally just, he's still holding Batman. He sees Lois and just chuck, and then goes over to her. And all that was going through my head was, as soon as Batman leaves screen, just hearing, oh God, my legs!
Or just splat.
Or, hell, I would even love... And when this hits DVD, everyone has to do the, haha, this is the funny thing you can do with this clip. Literally, just start adding cartoon sound effects every time he flies off. Like, you got you got a cat, just the chuck. But, and then he even turns around, and then they cut to him on the ground, going, okay, there's definitely some bleeding.
I'm bleeding.
Which I thought was actually, like, really good. But that entire scene of Superman coming back, and I think that made the film for me. Like, without that, because that would be the best scene, not talking favorite, but I think the best done scene, where we have the team coming together, where we have, these great character moments, where Diana's like, he's not himself, I don't want to hurt you. But then you've got Aquaman going, guys,
I'll hurt you.
I'll hurt you.
I'll hurt you bad.
And then Cyborg,
he can't help it.
And then Cyborg's like, I gotta, my armor is doing, or my mechanical side is automatically doing these defenses, which give me a little bit of a Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle feel, which is he gets a magical, alien scarab armor stuff.
I also liked in that to build on that.
Yeah.
Flash's oh shit moment of I'm not the fastest motherfucker.
Oh my god, that was especially
cute.
because you saw his eyes just continue opening. Just
holy shit, he's fast too.
And I will admit that I initially disliked how they did the Speed Force, like when it was jump to do all this, power and everything like that. But it was in that scene that made me actually go, you know what? This worked really well. Well, that and the sword. Like, knocking the sword back to...
Yeah.
I thought it just worked.
That was kind of cool.
But, you can cross over.
Okay.
But that I think would be the best scene, and honestly, even as like a 10-minute clip all its own, works to make the film. Which is why I say that Steppenwolf being a weak villain, isn't the point, but it's definitely a critique that definitely could have made the film better.
Definitely can be Rayman.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sorry, with how weak the villain was, it was like, seriously, you needed all 6 of the big guns? Seriously, couldn't they have just couldn't Flash have run around him a few times? Wore
Not
his
really,
ass
he
out?
would have tripped.
Probably, but wore his ass out while Cyborg, reconnects with the Allspark or whatever they're calling it in this movie.
Although that was still also my favorite scene, because once Superman comes back, he's the Superman, the iconic, the hopeful and everything. He's the big blue Boy Scout, which is awesome, and something that
He's the DC Captain America. Let's just call him what he is.
It's something that I got into a lot of arguments on the internet about. Surprise, surprise. Because even Zack Snyder, when making Batman vs Superman, turned around and said the arc for Superman to become this big beacon of hope is set for the Justice League movie.
You did say that.
So BVS was, the lowest point for the character to kill him, and then when he comes back, he's Jesus.
Basically. Only he was dead a lot longer than 3 days.
Yeah, like a whole week.
Long enough for the
World
farm
to go
closed on.
Yeah, long enough for the farm to be closed down.
I
bought the bank.
No, I thought she sold it to the bank.
No,
it was foreclosed.
It was foreclosed.
The bank was trying to sell it because they'd foreclosed.
Although
on
I
it.
I bought the bank.
That was
It's
I
kind
said
of a
that-
compulsion with me.
Oh wait,
And I said it with.
Hold on, we're not at my worst part yet.
See, I said that when I was in the theater, and the guy behind me goes, "How did you know he was going to say that?"
It's
Bruce
Batman.
Wayne.
Right.
He buys everything.
He has money.
His solution to everything is throw $1 billion at it.
But my least favorite scene, my biggest gripe with the film was, well, okay, I've got 2 major gripes with the film. I don't really have necessarily a single scene.
Can we get to a gripe?
Just pick one.
Okay, my biggest gripe with the film is how much comedy was added to it. Like, while there's a lot of really great moments, like, one of my favorite is the Aquaman sitting on the lasso of truth.
Oh my god, yes.
Or the Pet Cemetery joke, or even the, you know what? No, I prefer to be dead. My toes hurt.
I changed my mind.
Those
I'd
were
rather be dead.
Yeah, like, those were really good, but then you have the opposite side of that where it detracted from the Flash as a character, because, like, you can be a doe-eyed fanboy, but still be able to competently do things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get, I liked the joke, well, I've never actually fought anyone. I've pushed a lot of people.
Right.
That was good, because,
that part was
he's super fast,
Mm-hmm.
He's untrained, he doesn't, know that.
Save one guy. Well, what do I do after that? You'll figure it out.
And that worked great for me, but then, you literally then just have the film randomly cutting over to him,
Saving one person. Saving another
Well, no,
person.
I like that. I was talking about when it came to the jokes, where it just became, he literally has like 3 lines in this that aren't him just making a joke, whereas everything else
or
is
him complaining.
Well, no, even him complaining is supposed to be a
He's afraid
joke.
of everything.
Yeah, like,
that was just too much.
that was kind of lame. I don't like bugs, okay. And they do that, ha 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 ha. But the humor was my biggest gripe, but it's also my biggest gripe on, well, basically every comic film now, except Deadpool, or ones that are meant to be comedies. Like Guardians of the Galaxy's big thing is, we're snarky assholes, so everyone having, the jokes works for the most part, because it's my defense mechanism kind of thing. Whereas this felt like, and Thor Ragnarok, which I will talk about in a later video, has the same kind of problem. But that undercuts a lot of the dramatic scenes, which there weren't really that many dramatic scenes in this. And I think that's what annoyed me. There was not, they cut out a lot of character backstory and all that to make room for, let's make a joke here, there.
Right.
everywhere else.
But right there with me calling him, Norman Bates, he also kind of reminded me of the animated Prince John from the Robin Hood.
Mm.
From the Robin Hood
Yeah. The
Disney movie.
Yeah.
Mummy! I've a dirty thumb! I could have seen him say that!
Oh my god, yes. I could have seen that.
And my second biggest gripe.
That thing.
Let's see, that was
You
my
back
biggest.
me empty?
Yep.
I
That's my
think
biggest gripe.
my second would have to be. I had this in my head. I had it.
Do you want to think about it while Sam talks about her first? Her?
Yes.
Alright, my favorite part.
Favorite part or best part,
Actually, my worst. I gotta say the worst.
Okay,
Batman's fighting.
Mm.
It's too CGI. It's too fake. It is so fake. It's not even funny.
Well, I think that
I have
also,
no believability that Batman could do that.
Okay.
Okay, there's none.
I think a problem.
You
I
have
think
to be
that,
able to
How
suspend disbelief.
easily he recovered from all the blows too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, trying to make
Well,
him
he
the
is-
meaty human.
Yeah, we're trying to make him a human. He looks goddish.
And let's be honest, Batman drop kicking a parademon will not knock the parademon out.
No, even in
probably
the
just piss him off.
cartoons. Even in the cartoons, watching Batman beat the crap out of somebody, it was believable because how the suit was built. The suit was built to enhance him as a human and his martial arts background.
Sort of, but yes, I understand where you're going.
Okay, it was believable. Okay, I could see with mechanical help, Batman could actually, wrestle the crocodile thing guy.
Killer Croc?
Was it Killer Croc in that?
In what?
I think maybe it was. I don't know.
Anyways.
If it's a croc, if it's a
Or
lizard
the hyena, or some crap
Or,
like that.
he was up against other humans.
Even Mr. Freeze.
But
it's
for the
believable
most part,
for him to kick
Batman
his
was
ass.
up against other humans.
Right.
So why am I watching him be in this I don't know type of outfit that he should have picked that he picked
That he
up
picked
at
up
Walmart?
on the clearance rack.
It was BJ.
But on the seriousness,
Actually, I think
it's
DC,
a character flaw for DC. I have no belief that Batman could actually handle taking on a parademon. I don't even think he could take on the Joker.
the Jared Leto Joker, or
A Joker.
Any Joker in that suit. He was the Joker.
Yeah. So there it is. Batman
least the
fighting
joke.
period just ruined the movie for me. And I have to say, one of my favorite parts of the movie is when Superman's going crazy and Bruce brings in the big guns, and it's Amy Adams.
Well-
Lois Lane makes him human because he is the most human out of the entire group, including Barry.
I would actually argue that I would have preferred if it was Diana Lane's Martha.
Martha?
Because that's literally what made the reason I'm saying that is because in Batman vs Superman, when they were fighting, the only reason that Batman stopped trying to kill Superman was because he found out that his mother's name was also Martha, which humanized Superman to Batman.
Mhm.
Because Batman's like, he's an alien. If there is even the slimmest chance,
But there's a difference between a mother's love and a...
and a penis love.
No, I was going to go with a soulmate.
love.
Something that's beyond time and space.
And no, and I get
And
that.
the love between Lois Lane
But-
and Superman has always been that it is greater than time and space.
I don't think that was the tagline for their love. In fact, I think that was time over time.
For American Sweethearts? Well, maybe.
Anyways,
I had to look that up now. You know
but
that.
what I mean is that while character-wise it makes sense, you know what I mean, have it be Lois Lane, but if it's Batman calling in the big gun, then I would say that a familial bond would be what he'd go for, because it's Batman. And
But he
AJ,
wasn't going
but
for
the
his
choice
son,
is
he was
Batman.
going for...
Because it's Batman and he lost his family so young, he wouldn't go for that mother love as the big gun.
I'm just saying my piece. I'm not
He'd go for the
disagreeing.
hot chick with the great gams.
And why did you go for Amy
Green
Adams?
That's in
Amber Heard
Superman's
is
world.
Amber Heard is literally another fish in the sea now. But no, actually, that's a gripe I had. I have not with what you were saying, but I think that, especially in the okay, we're back on the Kent farm thing after he comes back and everything, and Diana Lane pulls up in the truck. She needed to act the hell out of seeing her dead son.
But she already knew what she was coming to because Lois called her and said, "This is what's going on."
But at the same time,
But she was totally playing the shocked move pretty well,
like,
though.
it wasn't even.
It's one thing to hear something, it's another to see it.
What I mean is that literally, I would have loved to see her get out of the truck, almost stumble out of the truck. She's looking like
Clark,
she's
is
about
it really you?
literally breaking down because
Knowing what kind of actress Diane Lane is,
you didn't want that.
no, it was a little bland. It was.
But you understand what I mean?
It was a little underplayed.
They underplayed a lot of what should have been really big, dramatic character moments. You should almost be able to turn around and go, she needed to tone that down a little instead of, okay, you just saw your son,
You just saw your son back from the dead.
even if it, even if she
just
kept
like
that shocked face
they
until
sent
she.
Flash and Cyborg to dig him up, and apparently they went the old-fashioned route.
I love the fact that so Bruce, can we just get a bulldozer for like a minute and a half?
Can we get
Here's
a
2 shovels. No, here's my Lowe's card. Go and get a couple shovels.
Seriously, yeah. Could you buy the cemetery next, man, or what? Seriously, you gave us shovels.
I don't know what, but actually I really liked that. I would have liked that's another scene that I would have liked a little bit more. Like Ray Fisher, Ezra Miller, you can tell that he was directed to try and be the haha funny. I don't want to say dumb.
I could do
He
this
was the
faster,
clown.
but
Well, yeah, but he was the clown, whereas Ray Fisher, when Ezra
He's playing the straight man.
yeah, and Ray Fisher actually acted very well with the yeah, you're right. I guess we are the accidents, but I would have liked to see a little bit more. I think that is my biggest gripe. That is my biggest gripe. They cut a lot of what could have really connected the characters to scenes to make a joke. I am glad that Diane Lane didn't just fucking fart in the middle of the dramatic, oh my god, my son's alive scene, or
trip over a stalk of corn or something.
For how high that corn was, the fact that they moved through that so well.
My question is, they got to the house.
I assumed it was the same corn as the Twister movie. The corn that does the shit it's supposed to do to keep the movie line going.
But that is, I think, my biggest gripe with the film is that, I defended Man of Steel. I did. Because a lot of people, was like, when, I think we talked about this before, Kevin Costner tells young Clark, you shouldn't have shown your powers off to people. So Clark turns around and goes, so I should have let a school bus full of kids die. And then Kevin Costner skips the beat to go, maybe. In that, well, I can't tell my son to let people die and everything like that. It felt like they were playing this way too safe, so they didn't get people going, well, why is she crying in a cornfield? It's just her son. Clearly, Lois probably told her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they did. They played some parts of it way too safe.
But you have to think about something else.
Audiences are stupid.
The entire world
Comic book audiences are doubly so.
This movie could have gone to 2.5 hours.
But
and
WB wanted
minutes.
I'm really
hoping
that
extra 20 minutes could have fleshed out some of the character points and plot points that we're bitching about.
Especially Vic.
Although there was not enough time on the planet to make Steppenwolf a decent.
Yeah.
I think
we needed a different villain. We needed a different villain.
He was definitely a stepping stone villain. They didn't want to go dark side right off the bat.
But he was like the training wheels villain.
Yeah, he was.
He was like, here, we'll wheel you out in your little cart.
We had,
fear me, mommy. Aw, who's our little Steppenwolf?
Who's a little fear demon?
But
I had a little fear demon.
So, is there anything else we'd like to cover?
I don't know why, but I kind of didn't like the fact that Cyborg.
Cyborg.
Yeah, Cyborg kind of had his fight with Aquaman just because he was a jerk. I'd rather like have him like nitpick and argue with Flash for some reason. Like
Cyborg and
like,
Flash
even though they
really
have-
should play off each other more
I
because
think,
they are
yeah.
the younger.
be all
Right.
if not anything else,
And it
then
would've-
Cyborg should be all like
As weird as this is gonna
knock him down, like you were saying earlier, with the I know more or I have more knowledge, or just them butt heads because they're so smart.
Yeah, because a lot of Vic's character, literally the only reason this character isn't the blandest son bitch around is because of Ray Fisher. Because literally, you know,
He played what was on that paper to the best of his ability.
He acted the hell out of what he was very
He
little
was given a
given.
two-dimensional
His face,
character and gave him a third dimension.
Yeah, even without having a full backstory.
But the
Not
Flash
knowing
was given a
anything.
two-dimensional character and got
Given.
a half a dimension in there.
And what I would have liked is we actually saw, air quote pairing off, like, Aquaman and Wonder Woman have a lot in common. They're, warrior
Right.
races, yada yada.
They're
we never
also, not outcasts, but they've both been banished from their home world.
Yeah.
Their home.
But we never got that with, because I would have loved to see Flash and Cyborg play off each other, because Vic is, this really high intelligence person who said, hey, I like football. I'm going to play football. Versus Flash, who is supposed to be intelligent. They brought up that he's trying to be, in the CSI.
But he's like
this. I don't even want to say flighty. He's
was
autistic.
He was fluff.
And
that's fluff, but fluff.
And he was fluff. He was there to be comic.
He was severely Asperger's.
And the problem is that I think he was meant to be the audience proxy. The comic. Going, okay, he's the new guy. He's happy. He's, but there was not enough to give him the.
How you like getting Frenched by the pit bull?
It is a terrier mix. Thank you.
No. She's actually labeled a pit bull now.
Oh, that's good. You're officially what you are.
Well, she's technically
she's a terrier mix. She's a pit bull Boston Terrier mix.
She's an American pit bull Boston Terrier mix.
So
look at those markings.
So, what previews did you guys get for?
Same one you did.
So, short answer. I really liked it. It's okay. It's just you can
minimize.
Right? Yes. Hold on. Just to stop everyone being terrified. There.
Well,
okay.
You would have been terrified too
if it happened to me. I'm sitting next to you. But what
they're telling us something. You know this, right?
Yes, and they will go as soon as we're done with this. So, final thoughts, Shell.
It's just me, guys. Final thoughts. Well, you asked previews, and then we switched to final thoughts.
Sorry, we'll go final thoughts, and then just if anything looked good. Rampage looks great.
Rampage looks great.
Coco.
I honestly, you know what else is starting to grow on me is Jumanji.
Jumanji, oh, yes.
Jumanji is starting to grow on me.
Yeah.
But it's Dwayne Johnson.
What was the one that played after Jumanji?
I need something else. Tell me more about it.
I don't know. Look kind of actiony.
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Oh my god,
that looks good.
That looks good.
That does look good, but that's part of the reboot plus the game.
Well, yes, it is, but it actually looks better because no offense to Angelina Jolie, this chick isn't Angelina Jolie. Rampage looks good. It also has Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Manu Barrett in it, so that's a lot of man meat. I'm straight, I swear.
Sure you are. Final thoughts. Justice League was a good starting
Stop
point.
that!
It was good in what it did, but it missed on a lot of notes also.
Yeah. And that's very true.
If you want to get people into a group, the Justice League is DC's answer to the Avengers. Overall, that's how it was built.
Well, this movie, yes.
This movie, but I mean, between the two of them, that's really.
The Avengers started much later than the Justice League.
But you understand when chicks start coming back out.
But yes,
Okay, Shimmer.
for finally having, it finally feels like they've made something to match Marvel.
Yeah, we're starting to get to, the scales are starting to bounce out a little bit.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of people are backlashing against this film about, is because it's finally something that makes them go, wow, maybe a fun romp isn't, the only thing a film needs, which is a lot of people's defense for some of these subpar Marvel films.
No,
You know what you are.
They're just
Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 2, Avengers 2, Captain America #1.
most of the X-Men crap.
Hey,
I said most.
First Class was great. Days of Futures Past was actually really good. Apocalypse kind of sucked. Logan was
I
still.
haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, we have the DVD downstairs now.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel, because we had to go to Walmart after this film to pick up Batman vs. Superman. She wanted to pick up the the Blu-ray 4-pack of all of the films that came before this for $50. Anyways,
About $50.
so what's your final thoughts on this?
It was a good movie.
You know what? That is, if you don't have anything else to add to that, just good movie. Because you don't need to. Basically,
I can't think of anything right now.
we've talked the hell out of every detail of this.
It was a good movie. It introduced it actually gave introduced Aquaman. It introduced
It introduced all the concepts. Oh, before everything, I would like to say, fuck everyone who is doing Zack Snyder totally decided to redesign the Amazons, so they were totally just going to be male gaze eye candy. They look damn near the same, although I think Hippolyta's breastplate had nipples.
I'm not 100% sure
a
on
little
that
bit,
one.
yes.
But the other thing is that
was
they're bringing
totally
up the
Madonna.
bikinis. These are Amazons that their jobs is to stand there with giant ass fucking hammers.
Yeah, no, actually,
to break that fucking beam.
that's actually exactly what I like.
So you know what? They're not going to be fully fucking armored like everybody else.
And even then, when they did the hero shot of one of them holding up a thing, it wasn't in a sexy way. It was in a look at her fucking abs, look at her fucking arms.
Look at that body that is swinging that hammer that has to be at least 50 pounds.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. As it breaks, and that happens to be a 12x12.
Also, we really did gloss over the fact that I loved the Steppenwolf versus every Amazon ever.
Oh my
scene.
god, that was actually when you sit there. And
Physics-wise, some shit did happen, like the arrow being able to carry this. Because what is the weight of a mother box?
Yeah. You know what? I think
because it ranges from styrofoam to actually
that was
brick.
Too.
Yeah, but
But either way,
there's different ones too, so they could have been different.
No.
But either way,
wait.
Finish off all your final thoughts.
I do love that. What is Wonder Woman's world?
Themyscira.
Themyscira.
Call it Paradise Island.
Paradise Island.
Well, Paradise Island, it flows, and like as soon as they started panning towards it in Justice League, I could tell that was
gonna be
that was their place.
And actually, I'm surprised on how well the continuity between Wonder Woman and Justice League
so perfectly.
Because
that's what I was trying to get at.
Because Zack Snyder had very little to do with the Patty Jenkins Wonder Woman film.
It was a great film too.
It was a great film. So seeing a lot of the similarities between the two worlds was actually.
It was impressive that they were able to keep that momentum going from Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although I would have liked to see the civilization change a smidge in 100 years.
But to be fair, they've been hadn't changed in 5,000 years.
I was about to say, but to be fair,
why was that 100 going to be like the whole shit? Here we go.
Yeah, it's not like
because
Diana
now
can come back.
Because now they actually have weaponry from when the Germans invaded.
Technically, yeah.
So I would have liked to see just like a little bit more incorporation of like even if it was just hey that German gunboat's tank is now just mounted on a tower right there. So suddenly out of nowhere Steppenwolf just lunges at Hippolyta or something, and then out of nowhere, just boom,
Oh!
shell to the face.
Yeah.
Except that the
I know.
Amazon lore says that they maintain the old ways.
I know.
Yeah, it does.
And
But
they
I
really
want a
need
cannon!
German tank in the old ways.
In our old ways, we would. But we're kind of German on some parts of our family.
Let's not talk about that on the internet.
But anyways,
That's true.
We're also Jewish, Welsh, and anything else you want to bitch about.
Super Irish.
Basically from the Iron Curtain over.
but anyways.
And nobody
So,
under the age of
yes,
20
it
was
would
doing
have been
Iron
cool to have hit him with a cannon.
It would have been cool, and I'm not
But-
saying that's like, it's not a deal breaker, it's just one of those
Mhm.
I would have liked to see. Sort of like I would have loved to see the end credit scene is, Lex on his ship just being all, so, Deathstroke, let's go make ourselves an Injustice gang.
I would have also,
I
on
would
the
have
flip
liked-
side of that, would have loved to see, as one of the cut scenes or the end scenes, Diana back at the museum. So what'd you do this weekend? Nothing much.
Oh, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, something just to tie that, because it felt like Chekhov's joke. Where, you know what I mean? They set up at the very
They
beginning.
set it up. It was, I mean, they planted the hook.
And they even
never
brought up,
reeled it in.
and they even brought up, every week it's always, every night it's always the same. You didn't do nothing much and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it would have just been a nice little.
And if it had been after that whole brouhaha, so Diana, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, nothing much. I
It would've been
visited some
cute.
friends in the country.
Look, yeah,
You know?
something even to go.
Something
you
to
have friends now?
completely downplay the fact that she just saved the world again.
I do like how they are pushing Wonder Woman into the spotlight as the foundation for the universe now,
Yeah.
instead of like going with Batman or Superman.
Right.
Well,
They're going with
I
the
agree.
good part of the well, all three of them are good in Trinity, but
I think it's actually,
they're doing it because Wonder Woman made money. But
Yeah,
they're
so
also
what was
doing it because they're bringing in the the Amazonian storyline. They're bringing in the Atlantean
yeah,
storyline.
and you need
They're
an
saying
older world
there
character
are
for that.
characters, there are, demigods, there are metahumans that are older than your civilization,
Yeah.
walking among you.
Then I think they might actually kill off Ben Affleck in the Batman.
oh, Jesus, please.
Please.
We may, in fact, make a separate video just so you guys can continue to bitch about Ben Affleck.
Okay,
bitch
I can
about
bitch
every
about every
Batman.
Batman, yeah.
There's only one Batman I have yet to be able to bitch about. And that's because he's the first.
Adam West.
Excuse me, there was a serial running in 1947 that had someone totally different playing Batman. So no,
But
Adam
Adam
West was
West-
not the first.
But Adam West was unapologetically campy, and it worked.
And you guys won't let me do the Bat-2C.
Now, as far as large screen Batmans, I'm a Keaton girl.
I know you like Mr. Mom.
But the
Worst is still
combination-
Val Kilmer.
Yes. But
George
the combination of Keaton and Nicholson was enough to give people nightmares.
And that's very true.
Yeah.
Because really, truly, the combination... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
But
go
the
ahead.
combination of Keaton and Nicholson brings that fanfic theory of what if the Batman is the crazy one.
Oh my god, yes.
It really
No, I'm
brings it
giggling
to
as-
light.
I'm sorry, I was trying to wrap up the video. I was trying.
Oh, I can be done.
Like I said, if you want, we can do just...
No, let's end this because I still have to build little benches.
I know, and you probably want my help. So, my final thoughts on this is obvious. I love it. The thing is that I realize this is how people must have felt with the Avengers. It is a really fun film, so therefore I have to say it is a great film. But it's great on a personal level, not a professional level. The film itself is hacked to ribbons. You can see it, especially in the first half. The jokes, is overly jokey. There's not a lot of good...
It's campy.
It's campy. There's not a lot of
But
overly...
it's apologetically campy.
There's not a lot of character scene... there's character moments, splattered throughout, but there's no real character scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You get Superman being pissed off at Batman for good reasons. You get Batman going, well, Clark is the most human of us. which I actually really liked on how they finally brought in pretty much what I've been saying about Superman and Batman and generally everything for the past ever. Although I think I may need to sue Joss Whedon because secretly I think he always looks at my account. I talk a lot of shit about him. So
Yeah, you do.
And while I do talk a lot of shit about Joss Whedon, I do like his dialogue. I do like him as a creator, as long as he's not the sole creator.
He needs to come through, and him working on Roseanne did this. Him, being a cleanup writer.
Okay, fair point. Except he was cleanup writer for season 8, the worst season of Roseanne.
Hey.
There was nothing to fix that season.
Yeah,
They have not invented something yet that could
that's
fix
the
that
But
show
being
season.
a
has
writer
one
on that season meant he was part of the problem.
But when you listen to the dialogue, you know when it's a Josh Whedon line.
Yes.
So some of those best one-liners that are in there are something. Come on, think of the second to last episode.
But either way, what I'm just saying is
he's a good cleanup writer.
He is like Zack Snyder when it comes to dialogue. He's the Zack Snyder of dialogue. He has fantastic dialogue. He's not actually a good director. The reason a lot of people love the Avengers is because the cast had so much chemistry. So he was pretty much, hey, read what I just wrote, put your own spin on it, do whatever. I'm just going to be behind the camera. Versus Zack Snyder, which is, we got to make this shot look great. Fuck all if anyone can actually,
deliver the lines. We don't care.
Ben Affleck is just there going, hey, am I ready? What's my direction? Say Martha. When you guys see Batman vs. Superman, you'll understand why the Martha scene.
Oh my god, I hated it. I had to listen to Lee. I didn't know who was worse about that, you or him.
But the problem is that it's a good scene. Had literally anyone else directed it. So anyways, final thought is that it was a fun on a bun joyride that was sorely needed in the WBDCEU. Warner Brothers DC.
Yeah, we understood the letters.
Thank you for the alphabet soup explanation. Moving on.
My very last comment would be that it did look a little posy at times as well. Because it really looked like, here are these beautiful people in this room, check it out.
Yes,
it was like the AT&T more commercial.
Movie.
Basically, yeah, it does seem like every scene either starts or ends with, okay, let's line up for this really cool shot. Are we done posing?
Let's compare chest plates.
Wow,
damn, she won again.
But so my final thought is, it is a fun film, and yes, it does have hokiness, and you can tell it's not a well-made film, but it is a fun film to watch. It is. I don't want to say it's so bad it's good, but it is so
bad it's good.
So bad it's good. Yeah, technically it's shit.
But it was entertaining.
But it was entertaining shit. It's like watching Ant-Man.
Never have.
It's actually a really
But anyways,
bad
I'm
film.
cutting you off. Courtney, did you have final thoughts?
That was my final thought.
Oh, okay.
She did her final thoughts because I was going to end with me, and so no one else has anything to say about this movie.
Oh, we have plenty to say about this movie, but I don't want to get into a third hour.
Hour 3, we can never leave. So I am the comic archivist. That is my sister-in-law, my sister. They're married.
She odd.
I just thought it was so.
Oh, the next one,
if
if we do review Thor after next week, we can call it our anniversary edition.
Oh.
And you get to review something with Jeff Goldblum in it.
Woohoo! I like Jeff Goldblum.
So do I. Yes.
Are you sure you're straight? Two sons notwithstanding.
And here's my girlfriend, Courtney. And honestly, this has been a blast. Hopefully you guys had a blast watching us do this. Because if we do go out and see Thor Ragnarok, I want to do that. I'd like them to come back in to do the BV when they actually watch Batman vs. Superman. Because I think it'll be really interesting to see. They came in on the good fun joyride. So let's watch them slowly start sinking Titanic style into the depths of ice cold
What the hell?
darkness. No, wait, no, that was a Lego movie.
That was a Lego movie.
Oh, look, no pants.
Tuxedo dress-up party. But anyways, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Please take a look at my Patreon because that helps out this channel. I might get a real camera. Ooh. Everyone say it with me.
Ooh.
And I do have goals up there to help my kids who really want a Batmobile now. So, yeah, we hit that goal. I get to get them a Fisher-Price, one of those Power Wheel Batmobiles. And I even have a goal up there to build them a Batcave. Oh, yeah.
Where are you building a Batcave?
We'll talk about that when I have the money.
Where are you building a Batcave?
Where are you putting a Batmobile?
And I'll even make videos when I do those, if I ever reach those goals. And please, above everything else, stay golden, Inklings. I'm out. I gotta hit the button. Ah, I'm cutting this part out.
Get the button! Get the button! Get the button!